Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be on drawing while you are in the grounded position. So through your superior athleticism, you trip and fall to the ground and somebody follows you or somebody takes you to the ground. Doesn't matter why you're down there, but basically what happens is you have to draw from the position and do so in a way that doesn't allow your opponent to strip the pistol from your hands. And so you're gonna see some of the grips that we covered in previous videos. You're gonna see some of the concepts that I've already covered, but basically this is just an introduction to that skill. We have some positional situations in future videos, but without further ado, I'll just kind of like move on to this so that you can check it out. Hope you enjoy. All right, so what we're gonna do is cover the overhand retention grip. Basically, this scenario is Jack, through his superior wrestling, has taken me down. If you didn't know that, Jack has a wrestling background. That's where some of his awesome CQB skills come from. Anyways, we're here. He's taking me down, trying to get directly into side control. I'm gonna be trying to control him a little bit and bring my legs right in front. From this point, keep my hands underneath his palms, and then I'm gonna try to go for a two-hand draw. When I'm doing this hand is dropping directly down, my hand goes to the gun itself, and then I'm drawing it into my hand here. I'm gonna rotate to the side, drop my foot, my elbow is gonna go here, and then I'm going to fire one round. That is going to hit him in the chest. I'm gonna use my leg to push him away, start working my scan, tap, rack, and then gain your situational awareness. Go back to the original attacker and make sure that he's had enough. Okay, so let's take a look at that again. We are going to go into the overhand retention grip, and I want to cover some of the finer details to that. So first thing is, that first scenario, I was facing him, traditional way of actually getting back to a guard or my legs in front of him. Most of the times if I'm turned, I would try to push his head and then try to bring my leg in here, okay? So now what I'm doing is with my legs in front, I'm circling my arms until I'm here. Now the reason that you need to go into an overhand retention grip is when I grab this, if I don't, and he has the ability to get to the front of the gun, he's going to be able to rip that out. Whoever controls the front of the gun is going to control where that gun is actually pointed, and then obviously this is gonna be bad for me. When I'm in this scenario, my hand goes right on top and I draw it right into my chest, but it's also into my hand. So this is the same grip that we went over before. My hand is locked in, and I want to make sure that as we're here and he's grabbing, my elbow is planted into the ground so I can face here. I move my legs out of the way, fire one round into his chest, and then I'm going to press. I know that there's a malfunction here. I need to get up, work on my situational awareness, tap, rack, getting the gun back into play, and then I'm going to work on seeing if he's had enough. All right, so another way that you can gain control of the gun and make sure that you can point it directly towards them is when you draw, you're drawing into an underhand retention grip, your elbows are nice and tight. What you're trying to do is prevent that person from sliding their arms behind your elbow and working some sort of Kimura type lock or peeling that arm backwards. Where would this be applied? You can apply this in any scenario where they are in control and they are controlling the upper body and I don't have the ability to get my legs in front. I'm gonna sacrifice my position in Jiu-Jitsu so I can go into the principle of position before transition. What that means is, when he's in side control, I'm gonna completely turn my body directly to the side so I can access the gun. So my hands are right over the top. I'm drawing this into my hand, and now the gun is facing directly away. My elbows are in, I'm gonna turn, and then I'm going to point the gun directly at him. From this point, I would be able to fire one round and start working from there. All right, so we're gonna look at that technique again. Make sure that when you're doing all of this, you are accessing that weapon, getting the weapon on them as quickly as possible. You have no idea what weapon systems they are bringing to the fight, and as you start to access a weapon, it may trigger the fact that they have a knife on them and they'll access their weapon. So we are in this side control position here. I'm turned directly in. I want to make sure that I'm controlling his ability to control my arms. This is where I'm going to draw the gun. When I draw the gun, it's right into my hands. He wants to pull it towards him, so I'm going to let that happen, and then I'm going to fire one round directly into his chest. This is where you would get up. Situation awareness, tap, rack. In the scenario that I don't control my hands or keep my hands underneath his, and he feels that I have a concealed pistol, he starts to access that. I understand that he is going to try to draw that out or just basically pin this to my body. In order to control that, I'm going to pin his hands on top and then utilize some sort of arm drag, but I'm going to peel his elbows in a very specific way. You can go in either direction, but just be careful about the body positioning. So let's talk about guard. We're here. Say we're moving around, his hands go directly towards that. And what I'm doing is I'm pinning directly here. I don't want him to be able to draw this out of my holster, so I'm holding one position. Because he's controlling this side, this is where I would hold his elbow and push this directly out. Then I would do a one-handed draw and then meet that directly on top. So pressing directly to the elbow, flare it out. So you notice that I'm not pulling towards me. I'm rolling his elbow out and then pushing this. This is going to allow me to hold pressure, draw, and then make sure your feet are out of the way and shoot him somewhere that you're going to get a decent response. In the scenario where he's going for the weapon itself here, and I'm controlling with my right hand, my other hand is going to go against the elbow, pinning this directly out. And now from this point, I would control, one hand draw, and then start to work. This arm dragger, this concept does not have to be an outside grab. If he's going for that here and I'm controlling in, I can go inside the elbow and peel this directly out. You'll notice that it protects the gun, but I have to find a way to switch this side, draw it in, and then give him what Jack refers to as a Jesus wound. Another position that is common is called the mount. This is something where you hit the ground. In that scuffle, they get directly on top. You are trying to protect your head, but you also need to access a weapon. Now, you can learn Jiu-Jitsu and find a few different ways to survive this, but what I'm trying to do is give you multiple different ways to access your concealed weapon. So we're here. He's in a mounted position. I'm automatically turning to the side so that my arms are in. I am obviously worried about him hitting me. And so as that's happening, I'm trying to push him directly to the side here. This is putting all his weight here. I'm pushing on his hips so that I have the ability to start to access the weapon. I'm going to push, draw into my hand, and then in turn start shooting because his one-handed draw was inferior to my two-handed draw. So looking at that position again, I'm directly to the side. I'm pushing directly against his hips, and I'm trying to move this way so that my legs go out. From this point, I'm going to start drawing my weapon into my hands, and then I'm there.